Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Brandon Rickey, your high school principal. I would like to welcome you tonight to our class of 2020 graduation ceremony. We understand this might not be the form of ceremony any of us desired. We thank you, however, for your grace and understanding given our current situation. We hope that our ceremony is still filled with a wonderful and worthy tribute to all of our seniors who are certainly most deserving. Before we begin our ceremony, allow me to ask for your cooperation with the following. Please remain in your vehicle at all times. We ask that you refrain from honking your car horns until encouraged to do so, as we want to be respectful to each senior and family's special moment of this ceremony. Finally, on behalf of all the graduates, I ask that our behavior tonight reflect the dignity of this ceremony. Our graduates certainly deserve nothing less. Thank you for your cooperation, and we hope you enjoy. At this time, I ask that you remain silent for the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
With all of the joy we celebrate this evening, we remember all of the members of the armed services, those who gave the ultimate sacrifice, and their families, those who are graduates of Akron currently serving our country, and those who will serve our country from the class of 2020. We pray that they will remain safe and return to their loved ones in good health and with the greatest appreciation of their school, their community, and their nation. In the spirit of appreciation, Akron has always honored when graduates serving in our military return to us for such an occasion as this evening. Private Zachary Bell of the class of 2016 is currently stationed at Aviano Air Force Base in Italy as a member of the Air Force. Airman First Class Bell is enlisted to serve for 4 more years and will remain there awaiting further orders. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming home from the Akron class of 2016, Airman First Class Zachary Bell. Members of the Board of Education, Mr. Patrick D. McCabe, Superintendent of Schools, members of the class of 1970, members of the class of 2020, parents, family, and friends, it is an honor to welcome you to the 2020 commencement of Akron Central High School. It is my privilege to introduce for his welcoming remarks the Superintendent of the Akron Central School District, Mr. Patrick D. McCabe.
Good evening, Akron graduates, families, staff, and guests. On behalf of the school district and the Board of Education, I wish to welcome you to the commencement and celebration of the Akron High School graduating class of 2020. I never imagined this would be the manner in which I am addressing you today, a milestone moment in the lives of our graduates that should be shared with family and friends here in the Edward Allen Auditorium of Akron High School. But such is the nature of our lives right now. While physically separated from each other for the well-being of everyone, I know that we are together in our hearts and our minds. Graduates, this day could not pass without expressing how proud we are of each and every one of you. The class of 2020 is an exceptional group. They've grown together to become a family while consistently displaying respect, school spirit, dedication, and service to others. Impressively, they have combined to earn nearly $993,000 in scholarships and awards. Congratulations on that impressive achievement. We are proud of your many accomplishments while here at Akron, but also how quickly you've adapted to this once-in-a-lifetime crisis to earn your diplomas. To our graduates from the class of 1970, welcome. Since your graduation 50 years ago, the world has changed in so many ways. Our campus and our curriculum certainly do not look the same as they did when you enjoyed them 5 decades ago. Yet I wish to assure you that the values and traditions within our school have endured. You grace us with your presence, and we look forward to working with you so that you may return to school and enjoy a reunion here and celebrate together in the very near future. At this time, I must also express my deepest gratitude to the parents, grandparents, and all of your family members, and to all of those who have supported and helped our graduates throughout their educational experiences, and especially during these challenging conditions of the past 4 months. Thank you. I know how much our seniors appreciate you, and I want you to know how much the Akron faculty and staff value all that you have done to help these graduates rise to the challenges and excel throughout their educational journey. Finally, I welcome our teachers, administrators, faculty, and staff that are watching this celebration. Your efforts, your compassion, and your care are manifest in these incredible young women and men. Graduates, in our classrooms, in our athletic competitions, and in our visual and performing arts programs, through your service in the community and around the world, you have embodied what it means to be an Akron Tiger. You have embraced this community's values of integrity, of wisdom, and of treating others with the respect that we all deserve. I am confident that you will carry these values out into a world that desperately needs them. As we gather together to celebrate you and your achievements, I can sense the hope that prevails in all of our hearts. Hope is important. It names our desires and tells others what is possible. And so I have hope. I hope that you have learned a lot about yourself and all the people that you've encountered during your time with us. I hope that your experiences at Akron have shown you how to embrace life's joys and face its many challenges. I hope that you return to us as often as you can. There are so many staff members that want to spend more time with you. I hope that you will continue to be generous, even with those that may not be able to return your generosity. I hope that you go forward, you become leaders and servants and mentors. I hope that you never forget the values that your family and the teachers have strived to impart on you. To paraphrase John F. Kennedy, for it is not what you do for yourself, it is what you do for others that truly matters. I hope that we can be together again to celebrate you and all that you have brought to our school and to one another. Finally, I ask that you always be willing to share your hope with others. That hope inside of you will make your life and our world a better place. The class of 2020 has made us proud, and I know that they will continue to do so in their future endeavors. Congratulations to one and all.
On behalf of the Board of Education, I want to extend my congratulations to the Akron class of 2020 and their families. Graduation is a time of celebration, of reflecting on the past, and looking forward to the future. You have spent the last 13 years together, growing from kindergarten through high school. Attending a small school You have been able to get to know each of your classmates in some way. After today, your paths will diverge, but the bonds and memories you have made will carry you far beyond the halls of Akron. Remember fondly the music trips to Disney World, Pittsburgh, and Central New York. As an athlete, you will always cherish that championship game or winning goal and loathe a particularly grueling practice. Your teachers have been an inspiration or a challenge. Think of that particularly interesting book you read or the chemistry lab that ended terribly wrong. There are also the happy memories of just hanging with your friends. Each of you excels in a unique way. It may be academics, music and the arts, athletics, or the trades. Most of you have made plans for next year. Some of you are still not sure what comes next. My advice to you is pursue your passion. Use your talents and skills and find something that excites you. It may be local, or your dreams could take you to the far side of the globe. This year has been so different than what any of you expected a few short months ago. You have missed out on most of your senior milestones and celebrations. None of you deserves this, but it is important to be positive and look ahead to better times. The Akron community has stepped in to help fill the void with banners, lawn signs, special meals, and parades. Each of you were adopted by someone in the community who wanted to help make the end of your senior year special. These are all examples of Akron's greatness. Take pride in where you live and have grown. Pay it forward and give to others. Make time to include volunteering and service in your life. Every one of us is challenged by recent events and the uncertainty of what the future will bring. Have the courage to lean on those around you and to be a source of strength for your family and friends. You are not alone. We are always stronger together. I encourage each of you to celebrate your achievements. Take some time in the coming days to think about your friends and the time you've shared at Akron, and look forward to the possibilities that are your future. To quote Henry David Thoreau, go confidently in the direction of your dreams, live the life you have imagined. Thank you.
Here to welcome you this evening on behalf of the class of 2020 is our salutatorian, Marissa Brennan.
Good evening. I would like to begin by welcoming Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Patrick McCabe, members of the Akron Board of Education, administration, faculty, family, and friends. I know by now most of you have probably heard the idea that the class of 2020 entered into this world around the September 11th tragedy and is now graduating during a worldwide pandemic. Given these circumstances, it does not seem as if good things are to come. However, I believe otherwise. While it stinks that we couldn't have a normal graduation and senior year, at least we have each other. I believe that we have all grown closer through these times, both as families and friends. We have shown that as a civilization, nothing can stop us from being who we truly are. We're all caring, kind, and generous people that will do anything we can to help others. We may have not attended our last prom, our last concert, our senior day, or even our last sports season. But you all know me and know that I always try to be positive in any situation. That said, we are not here today to grieve about what we didn't get, but rather we are here to celebrate all that we have accomplished and have been able to do. We did it. We are officially graduating. What used to seem as if it would never happen is now reality. The day that we have been dreaming about is finally here. But before we part, let's take a trip down memory lane together one more time. Even though we may not be able to travel the world right now, it doesn't matter because we already traveled the world in kindergarten. I remember we each had our own little brown paper suitcases that we would take with us. We would travel from classroom to classroom or from country to country, and we would learn about the different cultures and ways of life around the world. Soon enough, we will be able to travel the world once again. A few years later, we ended up in 3rd grade and began the dreadful desk exercise. I remember we all hated it at first and just wanted it to be over. However, if you were in my third grade class, I'd say we all came to really like it. We all began to make our own performances to the ending credits and enjoyed taking a break from schoolwork. The freedom to choreograph our own dances inspired us to be confident in ourselves. A few more things about elementary school before we move on to middle school. I remember we used to all love going to the reading carnival. The amount of time you spent reading outside determined how much time you could spend playing games and winning tickets at the carnival. You could use the tickets to get little prizes and books before it was time to go back to class. Also, if you made a game for the reading carnival, you could spend almost the whole day there. Finally, remember the traffic light from the cafeteria and how almost no one paid attention to it? Obviously, the lunch ladies didn't like this, and we would spend the rest of the time eating lunch in silence. All of the yelling in the cafeteria allowed eating in the classroom to be a privilege that everyone enjoyed. My fifth grade class always had a lot of fun eating lunch in the classroom, especially when someone brought a bottle of hot sauce as their lunch. Eventually, we moved on to middle school and began switching classes. The days seemed to fly by because we weren't sitting in the same classroom all day. At lunch, we were able to go outside and eat when the weather was finally nice enough, but you had to be one of the first ones to get to the cafeteria to save a table. Also, we learned how to sew, cook, and bake in home ec. I'm just kidding. I'll be honest, if I had to try and sew something right now, I definitely would not be able to. But we did all love, and still do love, going to home ec to see if there's any food for us to eat. We ended our middle school years with our awards ceremony and 8th grade dance. The 8th grade dance was the first time that we were able to really dress up and dance with our friends at school. Finally, we reached high school. Some of the big things I remember about high school are homecoming, powder puff, musicals, concerts, parades, going to New York City on the Spanish trip, semi-formal dances, prom, going on the Interact Dominican trip, performing in Disney, dress-up days, and last but definitely not least, toilet papering. All of these memories will be with all of us forever. One of my favorite memories of senior year specifically was on Orange and Black Day when we were outside taking our senior picture. It was pretty cold outside, but we were all packed super close together because there are so many of us. We have always been there for each other, and I am proud to call you all my family. Akron itself is one big family, and this can clearly be seen from all that has been done for us, from the signs on our lawns to the banners hanging around town for all to see, and finally, our adopted families. Akron has tried its best to recognize and support each and every one of us during this time, and I know that we are all very thankful for everything that has been done for us. I would also like to give a big thank you to our teachers for always emailing and staying in touch with us during this time. They have constantly reminded us that they miss us and that they are wishing us and our families all the best. These relationships that we have built throughout our high school years will last forever. Akron may be a small town, but it will always be close to our hearts. In closing, I would like to once again congratulate every senior. If we have learned anything from this pandemic, it is that we need to enjoy the little things and live in the moment because life can change at any time. This pandemic has only made us stronger, and I cannot wait to see where that strength will take you in the future. Remember to always follow your own path, no matter what anyone else says. Thank you for being my family, and I love you all very much.
Tonight, we are honored to be joined in spirit by members of the class of 1970 who celebrate their 50th anniversary as graduates of Akron Central Schools. As one of the first classes to ever graduate from our auditorium, your days at Akron were witness to some of the most significant moments in history. You watched the United States and Soviet Union approach a potential nuclear war during the Cuban Missile Crisis, the assassination of President Kennedy, which changed the world forever. Your later years in high school experienced the British invasion, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, long hair, flower children, hippies, and the counterculture movement. On TV, which had only 3 stations, who couldn't help but enjoy the Beverly Hillbillies, the Munsters, Gilligan's Island, as well as the Ed Sullivan Show. And who could ever forget Woodstock? Your generation fought in Vietnam, and at home, civil unrest broke out into riots in many American cities. You graduated from Akron and entered a world that would see significant change over the next 50 years. You watched with billions around the world and heard those immortal words, "Houston, the eagle has landed." Indeed, man had landed on the moon and in a spacecraft that had less computer power than currently lies in the phones we carry in our pockets today. You've witnessed some of the greatest advances in technology and science since the invention of the wheel, and you watched the fall of the Berlin Wall and the Soviet Union itself. And you swelled with pride over the miracle on ice in the 1980 Olympics. Many of you raised families, and in doing so, provided our world the next generation to whom the future would be passed. In our communication with your representatives, you asked that appreciation be extended to the school and to the senior class for including you in our ceremony. We also celebrate you today, for it is in the inclusion of joining two generations together that makes this community so wonderful. Your legacy to the class of 2020 speaks volumes. It is fitting today that we honor the class of 1970 as the torch of our future is passed to the class of 2020. We thank you for all you have done to make us a better society, for the wisdom you offer from both your successes and your mistakes, and for making the orange and black of your alma mater proud of the people you have become. Please join me in honoring the class of 1970. It is my pleasure to introduce for her reflections on behalf of the senior class, the president of the class of 2020, Morgan Wadoka.
Hello and good evening, everyone. Never in 1,000 years would I have expected I would be reciting a speech to an empty auditorium, but here I am. And never in a million years would I have expected my face would be projected on the big screen at the Transit Drive-In, but as it turns out, that's exactly what you all are watching at this very moment. Hopefully my hair and everything is looking good, because there's no real way to hide that when your face is plastered on a massive screen. I would first and foremost like to thank you all for attending this graduation and for helping my class and I celebrate this milestone in our lives. No matter who you may be, you all have helped us graduates get to where we are today, and for that, I would like to say thank you. I'm the first person to tune out when listening to a speech like this, so I'm going to try my best to keep it short, sweet, and to the point. I've decided I'm going to use this speech to say my piece with my 117 friends who I unfortunately probably won't have the chance to see all together in the same room again, or at least for a long time. I would like to reiterate once more how grateful I am for everyone listening, but this next part of my speech is solely just for my classmates. Hey guys, when I first became class president 4 years ago and found out I had a speech at graduation, I thought to myself, what the heck am I going to say? That was freshman year, when we were at the bottom of the food chain, when we would complain about having to lug our Chromebooks around, when we were all just pumped to go to semi-formal. Little did we know what a crazy whirlwind our senior year would be. Who knew that our 5th grade and 8th grade graduation would be the closest thing to a real graduation we will ever get to have inside the walls of Akron? Given our circumstances, what I thought would be a hard speech to write proved to be even harder, because once again, I was faced with the question of what the heck am I going to say, along with a new question of how can I write a positive speech when I'm feeling so negative? What I want to make sure I say to you guys is I am sincerely sorry. I can't believe this. I am so sorry we didn't have the chance to slide down the water slide together on senior day, take pictures in Russell Park for prom, or have a real last day of high school where we knew it was going to be our last. A lot of us have been saying that we have spent 12 years waiting for these best last few months. We have always been looking ahead. Even way back in elementary, we were looking forward to being in middle school, or when we were in middle school, we were looking forward to being in high school, and I could go on, but you get the point. We have had so much anticipation of what our last year of school would look like, and I am sorry it's been such a letdown. Despite that, I think our whole situation has made at least me realize that maybe these past 12 years have been filled with everything that we have been waiting for. But please believe me, I'm equally as upset we have been robbed of our senior year. I would do anything if it meant we could go back to the way it used to be. I would retake trig and chem, and you all know that's saying a lot. What I'm going to tell you guys next is not me trying to stand up here and make light of our situation. I'm just hoping I can help you all find the silver lining in missing out on our senior year, because I think I have. In many people's eyes, we've had the worst senior year ever. But I think we all gained a new perspective on life that many adults still don't have today. If you get anything out of these last few months, I hope what you find is a new perspective. I think people, especially our age, go through life blindly. We are all just trying to get by. We all wake up early, looking forward to getting back into bed later that night. We are always looking ahead and never at what's right in front of us. Good times will come again, and I hope when they do, you all find a way to enjoy them a little bit more than you used to. Be present in everything you do, because we never know what the future will bring or when that one time will be your last. We are only given one chance in this lifetime, and if you sit back and tell yourself right now it's just not a good time to start something, you're lying to yourself. Right now is the best time to reach for your goals and make what you want of your life. At this point, time is never going to slow down. It's only going to go by faster. While we may have not been given the chance to experience an ordinary senior year, I know you all are anything but ordinary. I feel so blessed to have grown up in a small town where I have been able to get to know each and every one of you. You all have a purpose, and I believe in you. 2020 is still our year, and I don't think the first half determines our final score. So please stop waiting for the right time to start something, and please stop rolling through life without taking a moment to look around at all of the great things going on around you. I hope you learn to appreciate the grind of working hard and being busy. Dr. Robert Schuller once said, "Tough times never last, but tough people do." And I want you all to remember that. I believe we, the class of 2020, now have the upper hand. We all know what it's like to lose things we have been waiting for, and because of that, I urge you to stop waiting. We all know sometimes the happy ending doesn't come. I urge you to make the most of what's right in front of you, and be grateful every morning that God didn't forget to wake you up that day. I promise all 117 of you, I will make an active effort to take my own advice I have just given you. I beg you do the same. I love you all, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart for creating the best 12 years with me. Go Tigers!
Akron Central School is extremely proud of all of the accomplishments of all of its students. As a school district, Akron ranked 12th in Western New York, our 12th straight year as an honor roll school. Beyond Western New York, Akron High School was named both by U.S. News, World and Report and the Washington Post as one of the top high schools in the nation. We rank first out of 28 districts in Erie County for graduation rate, and Akron High School ranks 6 out of 647 school districts in New York State for advanced designation diplomas. Tonight, we recognize those who have distinguished themselves in this pursuit of excellence. These awards are listed in tonight's program, and if fully realized, these awards will total almost $1 million. In our program and video tonight, you will note the corresponding students who have earned an Advanced Regents Diploma as signified by the gold tassel. In our program and video tonight, you will note the corresponding students who have earned Advanced Regents Diplomas with honors as signified by the gold stole. We are proud to recognize tonight's students who have achieved the top 3 cumulative averages as members of the class of 2020. For third highest cumulative average is Riley Dunn. Placing second for 4-year cumulative average is our salutatorian, Marissa Brennan. and it is my distinct honor to present to you the student who has achieved the highest four-year cumulative average, the valedictorian of the class of 2020, Lauren Bergman.
Good evening and welcome, my friends and fellow classmates, teachers, families, and everyone who has supported us and is able to celebrate with us tonight. If you don't know me, my name is Lauren Bergman, and if you do know me, you probably know why. Why some people might not know me, not why my name is Lauren Bergman. Anyway, if you do know me, you know that I'm not an especially bold person. So when I found out I had to make this speech, I kind of dreaded it. At first, I thought of it as more of a punishment than an honor. Then I thought about how far I've come from the shy little freshman who barely spoke a word, and I wanted to thank all the people who assisted me in reaching this point. Without you, this speech might not have been possible. High school has been a place of growth for me in more ways than one, and I wouldn't have done it without the support of so many people. High school seems to have this huge expectation set on it. Some people joyfully anticipate it, some people fear it, and maybe some people could care less. All through middle school, we were preparing ourselves for high school. I'm pretty sure every single senior has heard that at least once. Whether it be by learning in the classroom or by watching every movie about high school ever made. By the way, if it was the latter, you might have been disappointed that high school wasn't just like the movies. I, on the other hand, was very pleased. Yes, maybe my 8-year-old high school musical-obsessed self was a little disappointed, but my worrisome 14-year-old self was very relieved. Although I do have to admit I've had my fair share of embarrassing incidents, this is where the story is different. When I tripped and spilled my lunch tray freshman year, I wasn't laughed out of the cafeteria in shame. Instead, someone helped me clean it up, and now she's one of my best friends. This is one of the things that I love about Akron. I felt welcomed. I remember first period global class on the very first day of school. We had to fill out get to know each other sheets, and I didn't know anyone. But everyone was so friendly and didn't mind that I had to ask their name or how to spell it and their favorite ice cream flavor. Because of them, I felt welcomed. I remember knowing no one in gym class, but only at first. Before I knew it, I felt welcomed. I remember having lunch in the NPR the first week of freshman year and feeling lost in the crowd of people. But then I had somewhere to sit, and I felt welcomed. Even though when someone talks about elementary or middle school and I have no idea what's going on, all of the memories and kindness I've experienced in high school make up for it and make me feel welcomed into this family. Thanks to your kind, accepting spirit, I was able to come out of my shell since freshman year. However slowly it happened. The wonderful part of feeling welcome is that I didn't feel like I had to change myself, but I felt encouraged and comfortable to actually speak and open up and show my personality. I'm very glad that it happened how it did. Although, I regret to inform whoever thought that by senior year I would just blow up one day and start swearing off the walls that I'm still intact. I got to try new things and have experiences I never thought I would. I always remember filling out those About Me sheets in elementary school and wondering if I'd ever have a nickname. Thanks to whoever scheduled 3 Laurens in the same math class and Mrs. Collis for messing up my last name one day, and then doing it for the rest of the year. Thank you to my friends and anyone who encouraged me to try something different. Without you, I may have never joined swim or musical, gone to a haunted house, or danced like no one was watching at semi and prom. These are the things that I'll remember when I look back in high school, and I wouldn't have done them without the support of so many people. I'm so thankful that at this school, I don't just have to be defined by one thing. I've been encouraged to be an athlete, an artist, an actress, and part of things that are bigger than myself. I hope that everyone has felt this way at some point in your life. And if you haven't, I hope to inspire and encourage you to be bold and live your life the way you want to. Even if we never talked or had a class together, or even if until senior year you thought I was in a different grade, you made my high school experience the way it was. Even if it wasn't perfect or exactly as we planned or expected, this is our life. It's real, and I'm glad to have been on this ride with all of you. Now, school wouldn't be school without teachers, So on behalf of all the graduates, I'd like to thank all the teachers who have taught us throughout our entire education. Having amazing teachers, experiencing the way they teach, the way they care, is one of the things that inspired me to pursue teaching. I'm sure that many of my classmates have been impacted greatly by a teacher or a coach or other faculty member. Obviously, this year has been different than we expected. So I'd like to thank everyone who not only helped us finish the school year, but everyone who put in the extra time and care to make sure our senior year was memorable amidst unpredicted circumstances. I will miss the wonderful, caring people who supported me at Akron. Because of you, I have not only grown as a student, but as an individual. All of us graduating demonstrates that you have done your job, but seeing the people we've become means that you've done so much more. There's a quote by Henry Brooks Adams, an American historian. He said, "A teacher affects eternity. He can never tell where his influence stops." And I like this because it illustrates that teachers may never know how much they've impacted their students' lives, but they put in the dedication regardless. I will miss so much, from the huge amounts of knowledge and encouragement you have given us, to the small but meaningful gestures like being wished a safe weekend or happy Friday Eve or just being smiled at in the halls. No matter what we learn from you, or whether we realize it, your influence will stick with us forever, and I can never say thank you enough. Finally, I'd like to thank my family because they have always encouraged me and reminded me of my worth. I'd especially like to thank my parents for all they have given to get me where I am today. They have cheered me up when I'm discouraged and made me laugh all the time. They are teachers who don't need a degree, and I have learned so much from them. They've allowed me to do what I love by not only supporting me, but driving me back and forth to swim and dance and musical, no matter what time it was. Not only do I want to thank my family, but all the families as well, on behalf of my fellow graduates. I get to experience the benefits of your hard work every single day. When I was writing the speech, I didn't know if I'd be giving it in front of a crowd of people or an empty auditorium. And that made me realize how thankful I am to have such a strong, supportive community who have become like a family to me. You've experienced so much in life, and you're willing to do it again with us as we encounter it for the first time to help us learn and succeed and grow. And these changes will continue to happen throughout our whole lives. Some people say that high school is meant to prepare us for the real world. But even though we're constantly experiencing change and growth, I believe that we are already living in the real world. Together, we have laughed, cried, stressed, and celebrated. We've experienced loss. We have broken records. We have complained about anything and everything, but we've gotten through it. So don't be afraid to be proud and celebrate all that you have achieved. High school is a part of your life. It's a stepping stone on your journey, one that you can pick up and carry with you forever. So congratulations to the class of 2020 on all that you've achieved, and thank you so much for letting me live it with you. Thank you.
The Akron PTA, in conjunction with the Akron Central School District, annually presents an award entitled the Crystal Tiger. This award is presented to a graduating senior who, in the estimation of peers, faculty, and administration, consistently exhibits the values of Akron High School. Such values include integrity, respect, compassion, and service to others. Additionally, the Crystal Tiger recipient demonstrates intellectual competence, realizing academic potential through hard work and persistence. The PTA generously awards $1,000 to the winner. In addition, each recipient's name is engraved on the Crystal Tiger base, which remains on permanent display in the high school. This year, the following were given the great honor to be nominated for the most prestigious award given by Akron Central Schools. These year's nominees, in no particular order, are Mindy Doctor, Kaylee Harsh, and Morgan Wadoka. Please join me in congratulating these outstanding young women. Based upon the voting of the entire student body in the high school, it is my privilege to present the 2020 Crystal Tiger Award to Kaylee Harsh. Seniors, graduation is my favorite event of the year. It's my favorite event because it celebrates the gift to the human race, to belong. All of you belong to this wonderful community that has gathered here tonight to shower you with love and support. Dare I take it a step further and say you belong to the Akron family. We are all Tigers. But what is so special about family? One day a young boy asked his grandmother, "What is family?" The grandmother responded, "Well, you see, family is how people are connected in love. It works like this. Adult people sign up to take care of a tiny little stranger." "Do they get paid?" the boy asks. "No, that little stranger is actually going to cost them quite a bit of money, and there will be spills and mistakes and many trials. Then they will grow up, and just when they're mature, beautiful, interesting, and able to contribute, they'll move away." "Well, why would anyone do it?" the boy asks. The grandma smiled and replied, "One day, that little stranger will smile at them, and they will think they have won the lottery. Those little arms and hands will open wide and reach out and wrap around their necks. And for the first time, that grown-up will understand why arms and hands were created." Akron seniors, you see, children, the next generation, will learn that they are prized and belong before they've ever done a single thing to earn it. And the old generation learns that when they give, they truly receive. Family is where we all know we belong. It's where we finally get it. Seniors, I say to you that we do not have many rites of passage left in our society today. Graduation is one of those few initiatives that still remains, where you pass into the family and you know you belong. It is also where you recognize tonight's not just about you. It's about moms and dads, aunts and uncles, grandmas and grandpas, teachers, coaches, neighbors, and friends. It's about us all, because we are a family. Seniors, you've spent the last 13 years striving for this moment. You've sat through hundreds of lessons throughout your days at Akron High, and it is my distinct honor to be your teacher for the last lesson you will ever sit through at Akron High School. Your final lesson is to steer away from selfishness and make a U-turn from unfairness, but instead go to goodness and move towards maturity. Selfishness and unfairness, goodness and maturity. Selfishness is pretty popular these days, and it's really easy to do, but it will destroy you. Look at what a selfish, me-centered life has done to society. To quote the late Bob Moorhead, the paradox of our time in history is we have taller buildings but shorter tempers, wider freeways but narrower viewpoints. We spend more but have less. We buy more but enjoy less. We have bigger houses but smaller families, more conveniences yet less time, more degrees but less sense, more experts but even more problems. We've multiplied our possessions but reduced our values. We talk too much, love too seldom, and hate too often. We've been all the way to the moon and back, but we have trouble crossing the street to meet a new neighbor. We've conquered outer space, but not inner space. We've learned to rush, but not to wait. We have fancier phones to hold more information, but we truly communicate less and less. We're in a time of fast food and slow digestions, big profits, but shallow relationships. Selfish. And you know what is the gasoline to the fire of selfishness? A poor perspective of fairness. Anger over perceived unfairness of the trials of this life only help but to water the seeds of selfishness in our hearts that lead to the bitter weeds of life I have just previously shared. I'm sure many of our seniors and families do not think that it is fair that a pandemic has ruined our special year. I'd like to share a personal story, and I hope it will be worth your time to listen intently to the end. I was a first-year teacher at Batavia High School, a very young and naive but dedicated first-year teacher. I showed up early, I stayed late, bought supplies for my students out of my own pocket, graded every single assignment with feedback on every single line, coached the football team, advised mock trial, was at every event. Went in on Saturdays to plan. You get it. Didn't even have my own classroom. I had a tiny little desk in the back corner of the room of the senior member of the department. We'll call him John. John didn't talk much, and I never really saw him smile. Frankly, I think he hated children. At any rate, one day as ninth period came to a close, John was reading a magazine for pleasure with his feet up on the desk as I prepared the board for first period the next day. John, without taking his eyes off the magazine, said to me, "You have any idea what the heck you're doing, kid?" To which my reply was, "I think so." With a bit of a smirk, he asked me how many students I had in my classes. "I'm not sure. 26, 28, one with 30. And John's reply, "And how many are in mine?" It dawned on me for the first time that I really never noticed while grading in the back of his room that he didn't have a class above 12 students. "You just keep working hard, rookie. You'll figure it out eventually." And eventually I did figure out exactly what he was implying. And boy, was I mad. I confided in another colleague, a seasoned and distinguished veteran, revered by the student body, an alum of the school and one who coached 3 sports every year of his career. Let's call him Nick. "Nick, this is not fair," I exclaimed. "John makes more than twice what I do. He doesn't do anything. And what's his punishment? He gets less kids to teach and less work to do. Look how many students I have." Nick glanced back at me with the endearing look that one would give a young child who has been picked on or lied to for the first time. A face that demonstrated the loss of innocence and eyes being opened to the cruelty this world offers. He paused. Then he said something to me I will never forget for as long as I'm alive. He asked me a question I now repeat to myself every time I am tempted to compare my situation with someone else's. Would you trade legacies with John? Would you trade legacies with John? No. No, I would not. "Good," Nick said. "Then get back to work, because there's much to do for our kids." 8 years later, guess who the seniors asked to give the commencement speech at graduation? John or the rookie? My point, that which was unfair helped to make me who I am today, and the same is true of your story. The coronavirus may have taken your prom, your senior day, and even a normal graduation, but it also gave you something, a sense for what is truly important. And we call that conviction. Let me encourage you to allow this season of trial to heighten your sense of conviction about what really matters in life. I've been convicted about 2 key ingredients, which are the antidotes to selfishness and unfairness: goodness and kindness. Simple attributes, but I wonder how often we as humans truly reflect and practice what these words mean. Goodness, a high-caliber life that goes the second mile. Kindness, tender concern that connects. And I've seen this play out right here in this Akron community firsthand. I've witnessed business owners, residents, Akron faculty and staff willing to pick up the bill to get senior yard signs and banners made in the face of hard economic times for themselves as well. I've seen parent and community members give of their time to adopt every single senior, make signs or phone calls to ensure seniors are honored the right way. I watched as the Department of Public Works, our local fire companies, and our police force donated their time and labor to ensure safe parades, food got distributed to those in need, banners got hung, and all while upholding public health and safety. I now know why Mr. Lucente always said that Akron is Western New York's best-kept secret. I must argue, however, I think the secret is out. As potentially pretentious or even corny as this challenge might initially sound, I would argue that 4 key things will happen to us if we continue to live out goodness and kindness in our community. First, we'll certainly surprise people. Second, we'll make people feel safe. Third, we will coax others to open up and display the needs of their heart. And lastly, we will dignify people. Our treatment of others, especially in times of crisis, will tell them what we really think they are worth. I would be willing to bet we will all face roadblocks, barriers, and challenges in this life. However, none of those issues or their solutions are as important as you or the people in your life. I wonder what would happen to all of our relationships if we had a zero-tolerance policy on harshness towards one another. As they say, it doesn't take much size to criticize. I find it fitting that our school motto is pursue excellence. Nothing else is worth your time. In fact, it is at the footer of every mailing sent out from the high school. I would argue that few noble tasks provide such a pursuit of excellence as the trademarks of goodness and kindness. These traits are the peace that comes from knowing and doing good, the gratification that comes from transforming difficult people, and the satisfaction that comes from generosity. Seniors of the class of 2020, let us live our motto. Let us prove it, show it, work it, and pursue it. Dare I say, nothing else is worth your time. You know what else pursuing excellence looks like? As you journey to the next chapter of life, know that the pursuit of excellence is not found in what you do for a living. It is found in who you are while you are living. You want to look back on a life well spent? You want to make a difference in this world? Seek character, not just a career. Joy does not consist in the abundance of our material possessions. For how much would you sell your health that you have? For what amount would you sell your reputation if it could be put on the open market? What premium do you put on your eyesight, the capacity to hear, how to speak and feel and taste? There's an ancient story of an old king who was so unhappy that one day he dispatched one of his men to go on a trip to find a happy man. The king ordered, "When you find this happy man, purchase his shirt and bring it back to me that I might wear it and be happy." For years, the king's man traveled and searched, and finally one day, when walking in one of the poorer sections of the most impoverished countries, he heard a man singing at the top of his voice. He asked the plowman, "Are you happy?" The plowman replied, "I've never known a day of unhappiness." The king's representative told the plowman of the purpose of his mission, and the plowman laughed uproariously as he said, "Why, man, I don't own a shirt. I had the blues because I had no shoes." Till upon the street, I met a man with no feet. Troubling times. Count your blessings. We all have many, and what we thinketh, we are. Thus, pursue excellence by seeking character, not career, to find your fulfillment. And what is that character? Character is the presence of maturity in one's personal quality. Maturity means initiative, initiative to work, initiative to forgive, initiative to say, "I'm sorry." Maturity means initiative to commit. An adult's life should be marked by commitment, both to your nuclear family and community family. Thus, as mature adults and citizens seek to provide, protect, teach, care, guide, develop, sacrifice, lead, and love. When you watch the news nowadays, we don't see a lot of this. We see a lot of selfishness and arguing over what is fair or unfair. So how do we change this? Ultimately pursue excellence. We change it one mature adult at a time. Change it with you. And what is a mature adult? One who lives for eternity, not weekends. One who thinks big picture, thinks mission, thinks vision. Today's homes reflect our modern values of individualism, isolation, and privatization. Fight that. Dig deeper. Shallowness is the curse of our age. Me, now. Fight that. The desperate need today is not for more intelligent people or more gifted people, but deeper people. So dig deeper. Most people have had the same friendships for years, and they never get to a deeper level of conversation than sports, weather, or gossip. Don't let that happen with the people in your life. Thus, as a mature adult, choose to do more than belong to a group. Participate. Do more than care for your neighbor. Go help them. Do more than believe. Practice. Do more than dream about a goal. Go work for it. Do more than give a donation. Serve. Do more than just live your life. Grow. Grow into a mature adult, because that's how we make society a great one. One mature adult at a time. It's how we increase hope, joy, peace, love, respect, and honor. the things that are truly excellent. Because we can't take anything with us from this life, but we get to leave everything behind. In closing, when my 3 children are grown, I doubt they will remember me for being smart, or for how popular I was, or how many A's I got in college. Doubt they'll remember me for how many sectional titles I won, or how much money I made. But I'm willing to bet they will remember how I treated other people. Bet they'll remember how I responded to difficult circumstances. Bet they'll remember if I loved their mother with my entire heart, and if I was there for them day in and day out. Dare I say, that is excellence. Seniors of the class of 2020, here endeth the lesson. Take in this moment. Realize that you are dearly loved. And now go get it. And as always, go Tigers. Class dismissed. At this time, it is my privilege to present to the members of the Board of Education and to Mr. Patrick D. McCabe, Superintendent of Schools, the members of the class of 2020. I hereby certify that the students we are about to present to you have completed the prescribed courses of study for the senior high school and have given evidence of sound character, good conduct, and citizenship. At this time, it is my privilege to present to you for the reading of our seniors of the class of 2020, Mr. Stephen Dimitrov, Assistant Principal and Athletic Director for Akron Central Schools.
Davin E. Abrams. Daisy Mae Abrams. Nicodemus Bailey. Gabriel Michael Baumler. Natalie Simplicia Baumler. Alexis Ann Bell. Danielle Jasmine Bellis. Lauren Elizabeth Bergman. Shauna Lee Blackwitz. Shaylin Elizabeth Bradfield. Marissa Caitlin Brennan. Matthew Anthony Bruff. Kyle Sonati. Miranda Lynn Sonati. Jacob William Copty. Lucas Joshua Cooper. Brian David Covell. Trevor Joseph Crawford. Kevin Daniel Crooks. Joshua Robert Cummings. Juliana Olivia Cummings. Marissa Rose Daddario. Abigail Gwendolyn Daly. Rosa Maria Isabella Davidson. Mindy Elizabeth Doctor. Riley Gwendolyn Dunn. Mitchell James Edgar. Emma Jane Fisher. Harrison Alexander Fitzgerald. Thomas J. Fife Jr. Carl Edward Gast. Julia Nicole George. Samantha Lynn Gibbs. Brandon Jacob Hake. Jake Christopher Haley. Caleb Joshua Hall. Dakota James Harris. Kaylee Marie Harsh. Devin Ryan Heberling. Mary Rose Herring. Evelyn Laura Hockrider. Ariana June Hockenberry. Julia Rose Hockenberry. Ely Rain Hulbert. Christian James Humbert. Carissa Ann Huntsman. Ryan Steve Gigello. Caitlin Marie James. Bryce Matthew Yergi. Maria Elizabeth Johnson. Hannah Naomi Jonathan. Silas Breeze Jonathan. Laura Nicole Jones. Madison R. Kazmarek. Madison Jade Kelly. Caroline Maria Kern. April M. Cook. Kevin James Crone. Elizabeth D. Land. Austin Michael Leach. Logan Evan Leeds. Ian Thaddeus Lesniak. James Byron Lojak. Luke Joseph Lojak. Amanda Carol Lombard. Dalton Connor McGill. Madison Taylor McGill. Tyler James Marble. Abigail Masternack. Ryan Joseph George McCaffrey. Bryce Robert McLean. Aaliyah Renee McQuestion. Julia Elise Molitor. Matthew Stephen Merzanowski. Jordan Nicole Nadler. Colin James Naughton. Devin Thomas O'Brien. Jacob Patrick Oliver. Nicholas James Pazdursky. Sabrina Claire Perry. William Emerson Perry. Aiden Michael Piscatelli. Alyssa Francis Rebman. Liam Michael Regan. Michael Paul Remsen. Danielle Patricia Robinson. Jacob Elijah Robinson. Tyler Joseph Rosenberg. Shelby Lynn Rozowitz. Zachary David Sanford. William Peter Schenk. Jenna Marie Schweigert. Devin David Scotch. Megan Elizabeth Sheehan. Ava Benner Smart. Kristen Joyce Stakowiak. Evelyn Rose Sutton. Lauren Jane Swader. Jamie Ann Sirosinski. Clint James Shigelski. Cameron Charles Towson. Hunter D. Van Ice. Evan Van Wyk. Ryan Thomas Wachowski. Kevin William Warrow. Morgan Jean Wadowka. Sydney Elizabeth Whalen. Gavin Daniel Bishala. Tyler James White. Gage Taylor Willis. Savannah Margaret Winter. Nicholas John Wood.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to present to you the Akron High School class of 2020. Seniors, you may now move your tassels from the right to the left. I would like to recognize the officers of the class of 2020. President Morgan Wadoka, Vice President Emma Fisher, Secretary Caitlin James, and Treasurer Mindy Doctor. Mr. James H. Grant, President of the Akron Central School Board, and Mr. Patrick D. McCabe, Superintendent of Schools, on behalf of the class of 2020, please accept this portrait of our graduates. As this portrait hangs in our beloved school, may we always remember the wonderful young men and women who are the class of 2020. And may they view this picture with cherished memories when they return for their 50th reunion in the year 2070. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our commencement ceremony. Please stay in your vehicles for our senior video.